You know that is disrespectful when a team calls you a get-right game. So this team, who cares? They need to shut out all the noise from the outside. Who cares what anyone is saying about you? Because you know what? Right now, it's probably true.
Buffalo Plus, your interactive look at the week in football, brought to you by Connors and Ferris.
All right, everybody, welcome back to the Buffalo Plus YouTube channel. Please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Brought to you by Connors and Ferris. Hey, we're going to be talking Bills and Giants, and why not get a former NFL player, a guy who knows the New York market, a guy who works for the New York Post as a digital reporter covering the Giants and being around New York City, a guy who's really done it all at a pretty young age. Let's bring in Brandon London. Brandon, thanks for being with us today.
Oh, man, I need to hire you as my personal hype man, man. I'll turn 39 on Monday, so I don't know about that pretty young age, but
okay. You know. I don't want to tell you what I turn tomorrow, but it's not 39. I would take that back in a second. First of all, let's talk about these Giants. I know you were just working on the pregame show. You're covering it for the Giants, for the New York Post. Where are they injury-wise, and what are we going to see team-wise that you would think coming up on Sunday night?
Man, if we're talking about Wednesday's injury report, the Giants' injury report looked like a grocery list. You know, I got 3 kids at home. I'm talking Capri Suns to Little Debbie's to everything. It seemed like everybody was on that injury list yesterday, and obviously the biggest name to talk about is QB1, Daniel Jones. He still has soreness in that neck. We don't know if he's going to be able to go. You know, it's one of those things where you know, my time playing in the NFL with Coach Coughlin with the New York Giants, if you didn't practice on Friday, then you can't go on Sunday. So you're still trying to monitor that situation. Another big name, Saquon Barkley on that list. Obviously, he's not 100% when it comes to that ankle. So do you play the chess game of holding him out another game, especially if Daniel doesn't play? Or do you kind of try and rush him in to try and save that season? Andrew Thomas, left tackle, he's going to be out as well with the hamstring injury. Azeez Ojulari, defensive end or edge rusher, he looks like he may not be playing on Sunday as well. So it's just one of those things where when it rains, it pours here in New York City for our New York football teams. Hopefully the Giants can get some of those guys back healthy, and Wan'Dale Robinson looks like he's going to practice towards the end of the week. But at the end of the day, they need all hands on deck to go up against this Buffalo Bills team.
The big thing everybody here wants to talk about with this team and this matchup is Brian Daboll. I mean, he's a guy who did wonders for the Bills. Josh Allen raving about him. You heard Daboll raving about Josh Allen. It was a great relationship when it was here, and it helped Brian get his head coaching job. So great year last year, rough start this year. Where is Daboll right now with, I'll say, with the Giants fan base? I mean, it's a big fan base. It's hard to characterize, but he did a ton last year, Coach of the Year. Where is it right now with Brian Daboll and the Giants?
Obviously, in New York, there's always the vitriol online when it comes here. You could be Coach of the Year. You could have a great season, but around here, it's what have you done for me lately? And he understands that. He understands the assignment. So Coach Daboll still has to be Coach Dave Balls or Coach Big Balls here in this market, because it's one thing, you can get the praise while you're Coach of the Year or while you're high, but they respect you when you face some sort of adversity and you get yourself out of it. So when he's doing his pressers and he's doing his press conferences, or media availabilities, he doesn't give you much anyway. He's not like a Buck Showalter or one of these guys that's going to give you all these sound bites, or Wink Martindale is someone who's going to give you the cool quotes and the sound bites. But Coach Daboll has been pretty much business as usual when it comes to what he gives the press, the beat writers, and for a reason. You could say one thing in this New York market and it gets absolutely blown up. I think he's caught some heat today for the comments that he made for Josh Allen, and a week ago for Tua, who he coached at Alabama. People are trying to take that, dissect that, and be like, oh, look what he's saying about Josh Allen and Tua. He's not saying these same things about his own quarterback, Daniel Jones. But Brian Daboll's a smart guy, man. Every time I see him in the Quest Diagnostics Training Center, have a little chat here and there. And, you kind of watch the way he operates, especially around the New York media. He knows what he's doing. Talking to some of the players that I was with the other day for Giants NFL Play 60. People were asking, "Which Coach Daboll like?" Coach Daboll like Trey Hawkins the third was like, "Man, he a cool dude, man. He's doing a great job trying to keep the locker room together, keep everyone's heads up because if you can pull out a win here, the next 3 games are the Commanders, Jets, and Raiders. You can get some wins out of there. It's a completely different season. So again, it's one of those things, all hands on deck, all minds on deck. He's trying to keep the players' minds in the right place.
All right. So, with the Bills back in, and it's funny because obviously Tyrod Taylor is with the Giants, and we could certainly see him on Sunday. But when he was quarterback in the Bills, Sean McDermott's first year, they make the playoffs, kind of like the Giants did last year. And with Joe Shane there, he went through this with the Bills, and Daboll came around in 2018. I kind of thought the Giants as an organization might have looked at that and said, you know what? We surprised some people. We got to the playoffs. But we got a lot of work to do. And that's what the Bills did. And they kind of took a bit of a step back, went and got Josh Allen, and then had a losing year and then have been in the playoffs ever since. Mm-hmm. Are you at all surprised that, I'm not going to say run it back, but are you at all surprised that the Giants brought back so many people, including Daniel Jones, signed him to that new deal, and kind of tried to build it a little slower maybe than what the Bills tried to do in 2018?
No, because when you're hot, you're hot. I think when you go and you look at the success that they had last year, at this time going into week 6, no one thought the Giants were going to be, I believe, 3-3 or 4-2 at that time. The brand of football that they played last year is teach tape. If you're a coach, what you're trying to preach and teach to your teams. And I've been saying it all year. I think the 2022 Giants mindset needs to catch up with the 2023 players, or vice versa. I think they went out and got a Bobby Okereke. They went and got a Darren Waller, and they added some guys and re-signed Daniel Jones to that contract because, he only had 15 touchdowns last season, but he didn't turn the ball over last year. He did more with less. But from a receiver standpoint, I think this year what's kind of hindering Daniel Jones is he's having to do more with less, but with less in terms of offensive line. And like my father, who's the head coach of William & Mary, has coached with Sean McDermott when they were coming up in the coaching ranks at William & Mary. He's been saying this since I was a kid. You're only as good as your offensive line. And that's something that I feel as though the Giants, they re-signed Andrew Thomas, who was lights out. He's been hurt. Evan Neal, you were hoping he was going to take a step forward. He's kind of been in limbo a little bit, not played as well this year. So the Giants were victims to their own success last year and kind of got bit in terms of re-signing guys back and not going to get other guys to replace guys because of the success that they had last year. But at the end of the day, like they say in the NFL, no one cares, work harder. And that's what this team is just going to have to do. They're going to have to fight themselves out of this hole.
Yeah. You played wide receiver in this league. You were with the Dolphins. You got a Super Bowl ring when you were a part of the Giants organization. So you know what it takes in this league. Do they have enough guys that scare you on this offense if you're a defensive coordinator? They have good players. Isaiah Hodgins was a guy we had here. He played really well last year. They have Slayton. They've got guys that have had some success. But in this league, the Bills trot out Stephon Diggs. You see what the Dolphins put out there. A guy like Garrett Wilson is a star in the division. Do they have enough right now?
No, this team doesn't have people that scare you. They don't have enough stars. I say that all the time. When you go to a Giants game and you're looking at the jerseys, of course, you're going to see Lawrence Taylor, you see Odell Beckham, Eli all over the place. But when you talk about current players, you see 26, you see Saquon, obviously. You see some Daniel Jones, maybe some Dexter Lawrence in there. But outside of that, you really don't see other players' names. No one has given that effort or Pro Bowl or back-to-back Pro Bowl type performances to where you can blow up in a New York City. And that's why I say to these guys when I go and talk to them, in the locker room or whenever I see them, it's one of those things where it's like, look, man, I was a practice squad guy here that won a Super Bowl. They've brought me back to do in-game, in-house TV stuff, and I'm blowing up around New York in my TV career. Outside of that, you guys, all you got to do is score a touchdown and they'll love you here. You know what I'm saying? Like I did the absolute bare minimum I was just on a Super Bowl roster here to get the perks and the praise that I get here. So no, they don't have enough guys that scare you right now. You want a guy like Leonard Williams, who's one of the highest guys in terms of cap hits on the team. You want him to have more than 0 sacks. Dexter Lawrence, he's up there, just got re-signed. He's kind of a victim of not having, I believe, enough around him, but his numbers are down this year compared to where they were last year. Xavier McKinney has been good here, not great. He's up for a contract year. He's making plays, but is he making enough plays to stick here, or do you use him as trade bait? And that's what the Giants have right now, a roster full of guys that are on the cusp stars. And you need these next, I guess, 4 weeks. Again, Buffalo on prime time, and you got 3 games in the mud against, again, the Commanders, the Jets, and the Raiders. 3 mud games. So if you can play well this game, hopefully maybe squeak out a win, and you get those 3 games in the mud, you come out. Now, people are starting to put respect on your name, on your position group, and on your team. That's what this Giants current team is playing for right now.
Brandon, I want to go back to the New York market. And right now, it's a very disappointing baseball season with the Yankees and the Mets. The Jets, we were there opening night, and there goes Aaron Rodgers. And they've been, hanging on, I guess, kind of like the Giants did. So they're both down. What's it like in New York now?
Oh man, I mean, the city is absolutely beautiful, as you can see behind me. Like they say sometimes, it's dangerous in these streets. No, it's dangerous in these tweets. The vitriol right now online and for New York sports is it's crazy. I know social media is part of my job, but sometimes I don't get on the X app to talk Giants football with the fans and all. You're allowed to be upset. The product that the Giants have put out there right now, and this is no knock to the team. I see the players all the time. They'll say the same thing. They understand that they need to play better, coach better, do better. Everyone within that organization, within that building, it's always a we, not me mentality there. I've been doing Giants in-house media since 2016. There's been 2 playoffs with the one with Joe. The first year, not Joe Judge, with Ben McAdoo, right. And then this following year with Brian Daboll. Everything else has been pack it up, bring in the golf clubs into the locker room by October, November. So I think this year it hurts a lot more, not only from in-house, but with the fan base, is because the expectations are so much higher. And then you throw things with like players going back and forth with some of the fans or saying some things, then that only throws gas onto the fire, and then now you really have the pressure to go out and win, not just play well, but to win. But this is one of those fan bases, man. Yeah, they'll kick you down, they'll kick you while you're down, but they'll also bring you up and praise you when you're playing well. And I think that's all they want to see, some sort of hardworking, tough product of football that's being put out there, and not what you're seeing early in the season. Also understand, when you're talking to we talked with Omar Kelly of alldolphins.com last week. We talked with Matt Perino of Syracuse.com this week. Both guys say it's a get right game. They're thinking of this Giants team as a get-right game. And in the NFL, as a former player, as a media guy, whatever I am to the NFL, you know that is disrespectful when a team calls you a get-right game. So this team, who cares? They need to shut out all the noise from the outside. Who cares what anyone is saying about you? Because you know what? Right now, it's probably true. We're going to lean to the fan side, lean to the outrage, to the vitriol online, because what you put on tape so far, you can say it's not you, but you are what your record says you are. So for this Giants team, you got nothing to lose. Another primetime game, which you haven't played well on. You could be down your backup quarterback, backup running back. You have nothing to lose. If you're going to go out swinging.
What do you think about Tyrod Taylor? Obviously, he's still a guy who's very popular in Buffalo. He helped break the drought here. He's carved out a really nice career for himself after Virginia Tech and then starting here in Buffalo and maintaining this time in the league. What's it like for a guy like that to stay in the league and still be a relevant player?
Well, it just goes to show, his genetic makeup, man. Like I've known, well, not so much known, but known about Tyrod Taylor since he was a Hampton High School, a Hampton Crabber.
Yeah.
My family, we're from Hampton, Virginia. I'm one of the only London males that didn't go to Bethel High School, so Bethel Bruin, where Allen Iverson and those guys went. So those are rivalry schools, the Hampton Crabbers, Bethel Bruins. So I've known about this guy for a long time. And then my dad, while he was at UVA, tried to recruit T2 to UVA, but he ended up being a Hokie. So that's the double beef right there. Every time I see Tyrod, I'm like, yeah, you're ops because you're a Crabber and you're a Hokie, in that sense. But it just goes to show, man, you can be online all you want as a fan. You can say this guy sucks, that guy's a bum, he's a this. But unless you're the man in the arena, unless you're that gladiator, we block all that noise out. You can say anything about anyone's career. Oh, Brandon London, you were on a practice squad for that Super Bowl. It doesn't count. Yeah, but I got paid to be at the Super Bowl. Oh, Geno Smith, you were a bum here in New York. Yeah, but Geno just signed a fat deal out in Seattle off of going to the Pro Bowl last year. So when you're the man in the arena, you're the gladiator, you always have to have confidence in yourself because this is a kid's game we play for a king's ransom. Everybody wants to be in your spot. So that's why I tell these young guys now, don't fall into the back and forth Twitter beef, going back and forth with someone who got cut from the JV football team. And that's no knock to everybody because not everyone can be an NFL star. You're on that less than 1%. I tell these guys. And I even have to tell myself that sometimes because, you go back and forth with the fans or whatever they say, X, Y, Z. It is what it is. But you have to tell yourself that from time to time. So in the pregame, when you're about to go out there, they're about to call kickers, holders, snappers. If you're Zach Wilson, Geno Smith, Tyrod Taylor, Brandon London, Drake London, doesn't matter who you are. When you're looking in the mirror, you're putting on that eye black. You got to tell yourself you're a bad man, Majamba, because you're about to go out there and you're about to play a violent game full of dudes who are anomalies when it comes to their body and their freak athleticism, and they're trying to take your head off. I remember I got tackled by Ray Lewis in the playoff game, 2008 AFC divisional round, Dolphins, Ravens. I had 4 catches that game, and Ray Lewis tackled me, and he didn't like fold me up or body me or anything, but I'm like getting up, and I'm like, I just got tackled by Ray Lewis. That's a childhood dream, but at the same time, I had zero chance to fanboy because we were down 14, and I'm trying to beat those guys. That's the mentality you have to have as one of these players, man. Like, it's just it has to be water off of a duck's back, and at any time, you have to be ready because when you're prepared and that moment comes, that's when the glory comes.
Sean McDermott, certainly he said your dad worked with him, and the type of personality is very different than Brian Daboll. The dynamic between the two, when Daboll's the guy with Josh Allen in Buffalo, getting a lot of credit for the way it goes. How do you think that dynamic usually plays out? A defensive head coach turning over control of his team to one of his assistants, his coordinator, and then maybe getting the credit and eventually leaving and getting his own job.
It has to, and it's one of those things where I've watched my dad kind of not like fall back a little bit and allowing the coordinators to coordinate and do their jobs. Hey, you're more of a macro manager at this point. Yeah, you can have some sort of input. You can tell Ken Dorsey or Brian Daboll, hey, we were going up against this team. I want to run the ball a little bit more this week. I want to hey, I want to give this input in terms of what I'm thinking on the floor of the game or how I'm trying to keep this game. And then you give the keys over to allow a coordinator do what they get paid to do. So if it's something to where, everyone was on Ken Dorsey about all the offense and they're not looking good in the playoffs and all, I can guarantee you that's a conversation that they've had. But at the end of the day, you understand if you're Sean McDermott, you're Brian Daboll now as a head coach, I fall on the sword with my guy. This is my guy. I hired you. I brought you in here to run this offense, to do what you have to do. So if I'm a Sean McDermott, like, you want Ken Dorsey, you want all your trust in Ken Dorsey and in Josh Allen, because that gives you a little bit more time to be on the defensive side of things, or it gives you a little bit more time to poke your ear in and see what's going on the special teams side of the things, because we both know there's 3 phases to this game. So you don't have to be this rock star coach anymore. You don't have to be Mike McDaniel and give the media all these quotes and, look like a Backstreet Boy and all. Mike McDaniel did a great job bringing Vic Fangio in to help that defense, because last year that defense was Swiss cheese, and you look at the success they're having this year. So it's one of those things where you look at I call my dad, you're a king in a way, but a king is only as good as his counsel. At the end of the day, you have to make the final decision. Are we going for it on 4th? Are we punting? Are we kicking the field goal? What are we doing? But at the end of the day, if you're saying, hey, we're going to go for it on this 4th and 1, season on the line, Mike London, Sean McDermott isn't calling the play. My guy is calling the play. Ken Dorsey is calling the play. So I have to have the utmost respect and trust in Ken, and it trickles down to Josh to execute it and get it done. So, that, and then just to go back to that dynamic where it's like, okay, this guy, he's getting this praise. At the end of the day, Justin Timberlake wasn't going to be in NSYNC the entire time. Beyonce wasn't going to be in Destiny's Child. If you're destined for the greatness, then you're going to have to go solo, and you're going to have to go do your own thing. And it just goes to show how good of a coach or head coach you were, because now he comes off of your coaching tree as a guy that you got to mentor, you got to show him the way.
Hey, Brandon, you've done a lot in your career playing and now in media, and you got a lot coming up. Let people know where they can get a chance to see you and hear what you have to say about the Giants in the NFL.
Yeah, make sure you guys check out at NY Post Sports, New York Post Sports. We do the sports shorts here. Say that 10 times, I dare you. We do the sports shorts here. This is a collaboration with the New York Post and SNY. All the digital content, if you want, Knicks, Rangers, all that, we do everything here. And then at Brandon London TV on all the social media platforms. I like to call myself the MC, the Giants in-game MC. I do a lot of the player interviews and stuff as well. And pretty soon I'll be going off doing my own content with a lot of the fans. Nice. I'm big with the fan bases here, New York, obviously, but also over in the NFL Europe as well, do the fan caves and stuff. So Bills Mafia, I'm going to be leaning on or reaching out to a lot of you pretty soon to try and get some really cool content to get out there, shoot, for my own production company. But one thing at a time. Let's have ourselves a good, clean, healthy game Sunday night. Good luck to both teams. Obviously, I want the Giants to win, but at the end of the day, may the best team win.
All right, Brandon, thanks again for being with us. And hey, thanks to all of you for being with us this week. Please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll see you next time here on the Buffalo Plus YouTube channel presented by Connors and Ferris.